Right then, so this one's going to be about finding those little places to fly, and those nice places to fly. So hopefully we've all understand that airspace is state owned. Okay, this is the first thing we have to know. All airspace is state owned. That means the airspace above my property, I don't own it. Okay, that company over there, they don't own it. That council over there, they don't own it. National Trust, they don't own it. That's it. Any council members, parish council members that ever watch this, see cap 722C on airspace and drones. Okay, that's your reference point if you want to try and stop drones overflying council land, because we can. So we get that out of the way first. Okay, I know there's loads of websites and council websites, and they all say, oh, you can't fly a drone, you can't overfly, you can't do this, you can't overfly that, you can't overfly this. Oh shit. So we know we can ignore that. They are factually wrong. There's no need to write to them. It's not their fault. They're behind the times. Okay, so the important bit is airspace. We check using Nat's Drone Assist or Guardian from Altitude Angel. We check the airspace is good. If the airspace is good, we can then fly. But what about the takeoff point? Now, the funny stories and the funny things I've heard. So, someone says, well, if I'm on National Trust land, right, and I hold my drone and I take off, it's not on their land. Well, you are, so therefore the drone is. Simple. And they say no drones. Councils that rely on bylaws, and places like the National Trust rely on bylaws to say no drones, they're not thinking correctly. They just need to go, we do not permit drones to take off on land from our land. That's it. That's all they have to say. Okay? Now, while drone users, I understand that you think there's a right to go anywhere and the right to roam. We're not Scotland. So, can you take off from a park? All you do is you go to the council website, put drones in and see what they say. A council, okay, should allow at least one park for recreational use by drones or hobby flying, okay? And if they don't, I would suggest you either write politely to them and go, look, this isn't fair. You should have at least one place where we can fly drones, and point them towards like Bristol. Bristol has 4 parks and 4 areas that actually allow drone flying, but it doesn't negatively impact the people that use the park at all. But it's because of negative perception, okay, that and Gatwick that's been rammed down our throats all the time. People believe drones are not good, right? They don't see the other flip side, that actually it's a good thing. You know, it's getting you out there, it's getting you doing your hobby, you know, and it's one of those things. So, but this is more about, can you fly from that footpath? Well, you can, okay? The only things to watch out for, of course, is you never block a footpath. You follow the countryside code, so you take your crap home with you. If you take biscuits, drinks or anything with you, you take your rubbish home. There's nothing worse than a litter bug, okay? Right? Really have a problem with that, right? You can see I'm going to go down a rant now, aren't there? These people that throw rubbish out their cars, right, or go walking and just throw the bottles of water. I just want to So yeah, if you're going to go right into the countryside, right, respect people's land, okay? Because the footpath, it's public, doesn't mean you throw your shit down, okay? You cannot block it. So this tripod this camera's on, for example, I couldn't use on a footpath because I would block the whole footpath, okay? The things to watch out for is people walking along a footpath. Make sure you've got your separational distances. You check your airspaces, as we've already said. You can then fly, okay? And I'm going to show you a couple of places where you wouldn't think maybe of taking off from. So we're just going to look at these, okay? And we'll look at these couple of places and you'll see how I did it and you'll see me fly. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you after this, okay? This little video. Right, on. Right, can we fly from that farmer's field? Well, no, because the important bit is, right, you should never commit trespass when you're doing any drone flying. So for example, it's gate, it's quite clearly someone's property. We wouldn't go over the gate to fly, as in I wouldn't climb over it. Okay, now, and you shouldn't block one with a car, gate at a farm entrance. So I've parked where I have, and yes, I've blocked an entrance way, it's gated, naughty me. It doesn't look like it's been used for a bit. However, I would move my car if needed. Again, quite clearly, you know, if I cross this, I'm trespassing. Okay, however, here's the question for you. Could I actually fly here? So, we've established farmers' fields, 2 gates. Okay, now there is a road, okay, but this is a very minor road. Okay, I am in the middle of Lincolnshire. My airspace is good. Okay, however, you will hear a plane doing aerobatics above me, but that's above the cloud base. Okay, he is well above me. I can't even see him, but I know he's there. Airspace is good on that drone assist, so you check your airspace. Okay, can I fly? Can we take off from here? Now, the risk assessment, right, because I am in the open category, technically, there's no one else around, I'm far from people, everything else, there is a road. But let's say you're doing it under the A2, or you're doing it under Article 16. Could you fly here? Well, I don't see why not. So, risk assessment, let's do it. Okay, we've got a road. Okay, we're not going to take off from the road because that would actually be stupid. Okay, but let's say I want to take off from this grass verge. Can I do it? Well, landowner, well, it's not land. I can't see no sign saying I can't fly a drone. I don't see, the council's website doesn't say that you can't fly, and yeah, there's no reason not to, actually. So there's no bylaw stopping me. Okay, we have got power lines just here. Okay, so we have to be aware of them. They are a hazard. Okay, we have got a tree. It's a hazard. Okay, because we could hit them. And finally, we have the road. Okay, now, to me, the power line is a hazard. You set your return to home height at 30 odd meters plus. That power line's a non-issue in my eyes. Okay, the tree is a non-issue if you return to home set up correctly, and you're going to take off from, okay, a piece over here. And let's say I want to take off and I want to fly over that field. Okay, I can do that at height. Okay, but actually what you would do is, if you wanted to overfly the field, it's about positioning yourself. Okay, remember, as long as I don't step into the field, I wouldn't be committing trespass. You know, hazard. Okay, so there's a cyclist coming. Okay, so if you was out flying and you took off and you have 15 meters or 50 meter separation is required, and you got up and you was away before they got here, that would be fine. Okay, that's perfectly acceptable. Okay, and then you could fly over this way. What I would do is I would take over to my right. So I would take off from here in a minute, is the plan. I'm going to fly up and over, and then I'm going to fly that way out. Okay, and I'll shoot that for you in a minute. And the reason I'm going to go that way is twofold. Okay, one, it means I'm safe, I can see. I've got the tree gap, I can see everything. Okay, I can see what's going on. That's the important bit. Where the other side, I could do the same if I wanted to. It's just about a bit of thought. Okay, well, let's do it. Right, some sequences have been shortened, otherwise the video will be too long. So there's our drone. Okay, going to do a quick minute checks. No cars coming, no cars coming. My return to home, okay, or my early battery warning, should I say, is set to 30%. Okay, I'm not going to use a full battery, but we're just going to go up, okay, and we're going to show you what this looks like. So, no cars, no cyclists, no cyclists. Check the airspace, look around. no aircraft. The one I could hear doing aerobatics, can't hear him anymore. Check. GPS lock, got battery power. Batteries are good. So we look, we go clear, clear, right, taking off. We take off. No cars, no cars. Coming in to land, landing. And that's the aircraft down. Okay, so this land, right, is technically will be public land, right? No one owns it, it's not, the road is there, the hedge is there, okay? This bit of land, who owns it? I don't know, I'm not committing trespass to my knowledge, it's completely open, park your car on it, don't block farmers' gates, there's nothing wrong with this. However, remember this is a very quiet road in the middle of the Lincolnshire Wolds. You wouldn't do this on an A road, you wouldn't do it on a busy B road. Okay, you can only do this if you deem it to be safe. Okay, so you do your checks, you look around. Okay, very simple quick risk assessment. Okay, what was the risk in that flight? Absolutely sweet FA basically. Okay, the worst thing that could have happened is I hit that hedge, okay, or I hit that tree because I wasn't watching what I was doing. No cars. We had the first one. I think I did have a cyclist go past us earlier, and we've had no other cars since really. Nothing that's caused a problem with the flight. I've kept more than the 50 metres separation required if I was flying under the A2 or even in the A3 open category. Anyone that's worked up about their aircraft, okay, that's not C marked, right? Let me be clear, this is a Phantom 4 Pro. You know, I flew a slightly bigger machine than your Mavics and the Minis, just so you could see, okay, that I'm not doing anything that's wrong, okay? The aircraft is perfectly safe. All I did is I made sure I had a takeoff and landing area, so I used one of my yellow signs, face down, flat, gives it the safe takeoff point. There's nothing wrong with any of this. It does feel wrong though. As a model flyer, someone that was brought up with model flying, this feels so wrong. However, from a legal standpoint, there's nothing technically wrong with this. You know, I look on the council website, right, they don't ban drones from their land. They, you know, anyone that says about overfly, they don't control the airspace unless it's a restricted zone or restricted airspace, you know, but then you can just take off from a grass verge like this, not a problem, okay? Very important, not a problem. I wouldn't like to take and land a fixed wing off from here, but technically you could do, but I wouldn't want to land on the road, okay? That's not how you would land. You'd have to land it in this narrow strip just here. And it is all about, you know, thinking of traffic and cars, okay? This is not something I would do, like I say, you wouldn't do it on an A road. I wouldn't do it in a lay-by, because, you know, you get lay-bys by the A road thinking, oh, I can do it in a lay-by. I wouldn't even advise that, okay? That's a no, okay? Because you'll distract car drivers. But here, middle of nowhere, in the countryside, who are you harming? No one. It's how it is. Right, I'll pack this up and we're going to head somewhere else for another one of these. Right, let's go. Right, welcome to Lincolnshire Coast. Now, we're going to fly on Crown Estate Foreshore is the plan. And this is the point between low and high tide. Okay, so you see the tide's in at the minute, but actually it's going out, so we can go down there and we can fly. Now, what I did it beforehand is I printed off a part of the Crown Estate map, okay, and the purple or the pink here, right, is where I can fly, and we are, well not you, but I'm stood somewhere here, right, so I'm smack in the middle, okay, well not smack in the middle, but I'm in Crown Estate area, right, all about foreshore and the beach and whatever. So it's about where the tide came up to. So here's where I can see the tidal line. Okay, so I'll just pan the camera down a bit. There we go, and we can see there's a difference here. Okay, so we can see this line here, look, as the tide comes up, all these seashells on the floor here, so that's different to this here. So I believe this is the foreshore. Okay, we've checked the airspace. Always check your airspace. Okay, you can bring the Phantom 4 Pro down, go do a bit of flying. It's a bit breezy, but it's not too bad. Now, this is where Article 16, okay, hobby flying, wins. It's 15 metres horizontal separation. So the people over there that have got their dog, okay, they're about 100 metres away. Okay, the car park that's up there, okay, so the car park's another 50, 60 metres away. Okay, now if you're flying with your A2 CFC with the Phantom 4 Pro, you lose in this scenario, okay, if you want to fly for fun, or your Mavic 2 Pro or your Air 2 under an A2 CFC, you lose, because you've got to keep 50 metres from those people over there and that couple over there with their dogs. Okay, so 15 metres with the Article 16 takeoff and landing. Risk assessment time. Right, they're walking away from me, they're walking towards me, okay, but it's 15 metres for takeoff and landing. 360 scan. Car park is more than 30 metres away, not a problem. I'm going to fly that way in front of myself. Okay, so I'm going to take off, I'm going to fly out towards the sea, okay, and we'll spin around over there. That's the plan. So the hazards are low, there are people out there, but there's not big groups, there's only 1 or 2 people about. If I'm flying at 30 metres, not a problem, you can overfly them. So if I was at 32 to 30 or 32 metres or above, not a problem. Okay, the wind farm, it's not an issue, it's over there, we don't care about it, it's too far away to give a damn. Okay, the weather's changing, so there is a risk the weather could change on us. Okay, but otherwise, yeah, not a problem flying here, you know. In the summer it might be more awkward if there's more people about, okay, but the idea is, you know, on the Crown Estate Foreshore you're allowed to fly legally, and that's it, simple as that. There could be a bylaw on the beach saying you can't fly on our beach. If you use the foreshore, you can. Okay, right, I can't actually see a way how they got across there without waterproofs on, so I'm not even going to try and cross this to take off from that sandbank. That's definitely foreshore. I'm just going to go, I can see where the tide line is, that's the foreshore. I'm happy with that. Okay, right, let's do a bit of a flight. Okay. Now, you've seen me fly from the grass verge by a road. As I say in the video, you wouldn't do that on an A road at all, or a busy road, because you don't want to distract the drivers, okay? But that road where I was middle of nowhere, okay? It was on the way back from a job. So the disclaimer is, by the way, before people go, "Ah, you were out flying and we're not allowed to because of COVID," I was on the way back from a job. I didn't go out my way to do any of the shots you just saw, okay? So we'll just get that in now before I end up with everyone ranting at me, because people will. So here's the interesting bit, okay? That grass verge, okay, as far as I am aware, right, I wasn't trespassing because there was no fence to step over, no gate locked that I'd step over. It was just a piece of land. Why can't you fly from there? Okay, you park your car out the way of the gate. I was a bit close to the gate, to be fair. I didn't quite block it, but I was, you know, you'd move it if the farmer came along. But it's very wet and boggy, so I'd have just got stuck if I had parked anywhere else. You know, you'll note I didn't jump over the farmer's gate. I didn't need to. What I did is I took off. I went over the farmer's field. There was a gate there, and I used that to be able to see my drone and keep a visual line of sight on it. So at all times I was flying correctly. That could have been done under the following things. That could have been done on under the A3 open category with no special permissions or anything. Okay, so that could have been done under just the open category, if you like, the A3 open category. I could have done that, okay? I could have done it with the A2 CFC with the Phantom 4 Pro, because 50 metres horizontal separation, no one around. Okay, 50 metres on all sides, not a problem. I could have done it with Article 16, which is the 15 metre, okay, separation for takeoff and landing, and 30 metres in flight. I could have done it under any one of those three, okay? There was nothing special at all. The airspace was good. And that's it, just go and crack on, okay? You can, that's it, right? There's no sign saying I can't. I've not written to the council. I've not done any of that because I've checked and it's all fine. As far as I can tell, I've done reasonable due diligence, right? So I've reasonably checked, okay? Anyone owns it, that's it, I can fly. You know, you can go beyond due diligence if you really want to. If you're that anal, okay, if you've got a stick that far up your arse, right, you could go a lot more in depth, right, looking. But that's not what this is about. Remember, CAA deals with airspace, okay? Landowners, trespass, that's a different set of rules and regs and laws you have to deal with, okay? As far as I could tell, there was no bylaw to stop me flying at that piece of land. There was no sign saying private, keep off. There was nothing there. To me, it was just a public piece of scrubland. So therefore, I could fly. Now, the beach. The beach, what I did is, that was the foreshore, and as it says in the video, the foreshore. The foreshore is between low tide and high tide. Okay. Now, the beach itself might have a bylaw against drone flying, but the foreshore isn't part of the beach. I know it's confusing. So therefore, what I did is I took off and I went and flew over the sea. Okay, why people get worried about flying over water is beyond me. I really don't get it. As you see in the video, I don't care. What, your drone is suddenly not going to suddenly fail just because it's above water. I wish people would understand that. You know, it's quite bizarre at times. So it is quite interesting. You know, the estuary, the Crown Estate estuary map is brilliant. If you are going to use it and you are going to fly on the low and high tide foreshore, okay, my advice is watch out for the tide. Not only the airspace, right? Not only other people, but you better watch out for that tide, because I've seen tides that can move, especially if you're Cornwall or places like that. I've seen that water come in like you won't believe. I've even been life saved in Bude when I was a kid. They had to come and get me because the riptide just got me. So yeah, if you are going to fly, okay, off the estuary, off the Crown Estate map, okay, just be aware of that kind of thing. Okay, all you've got to do is use common sense. There's no need to write to a council and go, can I fly off this bit of scrubland? Can I fly off that bit of scrubland? As soon as you get a letter that says no, you're kippered. because you've literally locked yourself down. Okay. However, if there's nothing that says that on the website and there's nothing that says it there as you pull up, what's the problem? What is the problem? There's no problem. And how many people died when I went out and flew off that bit of ground, right? How many people died when I flew at the beach? Holy shit, no one. Oh my God. You know, the anti-drone stuff, they're not going to like that at all, are they? Dear BT, your current advert. Yeah. I'm not going down that road. See that video for the BT rant. Anyway, yeah, so you can fly from these places, okay? Just be a little bit logical, but not anal about it, okay? If you can be logical and not anal, right, you'd do us all a big favour, okay? Councils, if you've watched this, yes, we can overfly your land, tough, and you are meant to provide somewhere for us to be able to fly from. It's, you know, it's a hobby. You have to provide recreational space at somewhere. So even if it's one park, okay, you should be allowing us to fly. That is a simple fact, okay? You know, you might go, well, we're going to put you right out the way on a common. That's fine. You put us out there on that common, but you've got to give us somewhere where we can go, okay? And that's what you should be doing, you know, especially in these times where mental health is going to become a real issue. You know, people want to get out, frustration at not being able to fly. If you provide us somewhere, at least you know where we all are. You know we're not doing anyone harm out where we are flying. Okay, so a bit of thought from councils would be nice. Don't believe all the bad hype, okay? Remember, dogs, I don't want to bash on about dog owners at all, but remember, dogs, they bite people, okay? Dogs fight. They make a mess everywhere. We don't fight. We don't crap everywhere, okay, right? And we take our shit home with us, right? You know, we're less hassle than having dogs roaming around and dog walking. If dog walking can happen somewhere, typically so can drone flying. It's that simple. Right. One last thing. It looks like, you know, eventually we're going to get out of this lockdown. One last thing. Please follow the countryside code, okay? Please do not overfly sheep and cattle when they are in season. So lambing season, please don't overfly sheep. I know you want to go out into the countryside, you want to get out there, you want to fly, but please just think if you're going to fly near sheep. Lambing season's coming, don't stress the sheep, please, okay? Don't fly in fields where there's cows is my advice. And don't fly near horses because they spook easily, okay? It's just a little bit of common sense, okay? There will be people that will tell me you can't fly near wildlife places, or I should go and check for spaces of scientific interest. Interestingly enough, I know of a couple of model clubs that are near such places where they have glow engines, make lots of noise. One of them's a helicopter club. It's right in a nature reserve. Do you know what? Wildlife doesn't give a rat's about drones. They really don't. Although you should be careful, you know, if you do disturb class 1 nesting birds, you are probably going to get a Natural England fine for 5k. That you do need to be aware of, okay? So if you do happen to stumble into a class 1 bird nesting area and you disturb them, the fine is up to 5k. That's, yeah. It makes the bylaw fine look like a picnic, okay? Right. And finally, remember groups of people. So groups of people now is defined as a lot of people, and if they have to move out the way, they can't because there's too many to move out the way. Don't overfly groups of people. You know, if there's walkers on the footpath, wait until they've gone, then come in and land. Set your low warning battery, everyone, to about 30% is my advice. When that goes off, you start heading back, you still want to be landing around 20%. It's also easier and less stress on your batteries, okay? But yeah. Crack on and enjoy. Okay, right, safe flying everyone and enjoy.